There is a reason why a lot of these wrestling fans are no longer enjoying WWE. It's because it's boring. It's too predictable. And when it's not predictable, it makes no sense. Now, in this video, I want to cover and talk about many of the reasons on why I believe that the WWE will fail. And especially if they don't fix these problems in the near future. Now, let's start off with the overdependence on part-time talent and legends. Now, I don't mind seeing legends, but whenever they're like, oh, The Undertaker will show up, and all we see out of The Undertaker is him riding his motorcycle around the ring. Same thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin. They did that, I'm pretty sure it was WrestleMania. He just rode his four-wheelers around the fucking ring, and that's it. At least have him cut a promo, or don't fucking show up. You know what I mean? Like, it's that simple. I don't want to see a legend show up to show up on a show just to ride his motorcycle. I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck about that. You know what I mean? Now, when it comes to part-time wrestlers, it's a little different because these wrestlers want to work part-time. They don't want to work week to week and week. You know what I mean? So I can't put it all on the booking. I can't put it on Triple H. However, for someone like Roman Reigns, if you're the face of a company and you're never on the show, that just hurts. That hurts the company so much. You know what I mean? If you're the face, let's say John Cena, right? In the early 2000s or 2010s, if John Cena was the face of the company, which he was, but he was never on the fucking shows, he would only show up when it's a big PLE. WWE would not be as big as it is today. And Roman Reigns may be filming a movie, and that's important. That's good for his career as well, so I can't blame him. You know what I mean? But you're not the company's guy. You're no longer the face. I guess the face now is Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is the face of the company. And when you hand the keys over from a Roman Reigns to a fucking Cody Rhodes, that's when you know the WWE is officially dead. Now, the second major problem is the creative. The boring, incompetent creative, despite the TKO merger, right? The TKO merger was supposed to spark a new era in wrestling, in storytelling, and just the business in general. The only thing they care about is profits. The only thing they care about is the money they get, the prices of the tickets. I'm pretty sure they made the most money out of any WrestleMania from the most recent one. And it wasn't even sold out. That just shows you the amount of money that they're not stealing, but basically stealing. The content, the quality that they're giving us is nowhere near the amount of money that we're paying. We've been getting the same storylines from the Judgment Day and the fake bloodline for over a year. Now, on to the next point, and this is probably the most important point. WWE constantly fails to capitalize on over talent. You could talk about LA Knight. For the past 3 years, he's been the most over babyface in the WWE, but he does not have his moment. Same with the Drew McIntyre. He's probably been the best character, the best heel in the WWE for the past 2 years, but he hasn't had his moment yet, right? But Jey Uso, they let Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble and have his moment, and only have the title for fucking 6 weeks. We wasted a whole Royal Rumble, a whole WrestleMania feud for Jey Uso just to have the title for 6 weeks. But we have guys like Drew McIntyre in catering right now, and we have guys like LA Knight who constantly loses every single fucking important match of his career. And Chad Gable was really over last year, and look what they made of Chad Gable. He's a fucking fake luchador. Yes, he's getting exposure, but the storyline makes no sense on why he's a luchador. There's no story. You know what I mean? Like, there's no story on why Chad Gable is a luchador. Because he lost to a luchador, he wants to be a luchador. That's the story. Wow. Fucking great television. You know what I mean? Like, it's so dumb. Now, for the next point, oversaturation of content and burnout. The WWE has way too much content, right? We have 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. We have 3 hours of SmackDown. We have NXT with 2 hours. We have Evolve an hour. We had the LFG fucking TV show. We have another TV show behind the scenes. Like, when's enough? How many fucking shows do you guys need, man? Is this why it feels like there's no effort in the main roster? Is that because you're too busy writing for other shows? Or creating other shows? You know what I mean? If these shows were 2 hours, it'd probably be the same. Right? You would think, all right, maybe if these shows were 2 hours, they would focus on these characters more, right? There would be less filler. But no. Even when it was 2 hours, there was still filler. There was still bullshit in it. So it doesn't even matter if it's 2 hours or 3 hours. It's still going to be shit. We're still going to have filler. We're still going to have matches and feuds that don't mean shit. You know what I mean? Like, it just comes to a point where it's the writers. It's the people in power. You have a wrestler, an ex-wrestler who's the writer, the head of creative. You cannot have a wrestler be in charge of other wrestlers. He's always going to be biased. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to have a one-way outlook or thoughts of a certain thing. You have to have an actual writer who writes stories, who actually writes stories. I don't want a wrestler who also can write. I want a writer whose job is to fucking write. Another problem I have with the WWE is the PG programming. I feel like it just holds the product back. When you look at other wrestling companies like AEW, well, NXT is WWE, but NXT even feels like a more mature show than the main roster does, and it makes no fucking sense. AEW has elements of, they have the blood, but they also have adult jokes, they have cursing. There's so many different storylines that you can do when you're not catering to kids. Now, for the next problem I have is the competition. The WWE doesn't really have a main competitor yet. Now, AEW is getting there, right? But the WWE really feels like there's no one neck and neck with them. So, they're not going to care. They're not going to try as hard. They're complacent. When there's a competitor that's neck and neck with you, that makes you try harder. That forces you to do the best that you can do. And when you don't have that person to push you as hard as you can, you're going to be complacent. You're going to give us the same shit every fucking week. You're not going to hire real writers. You're just going to do the same shit every week because people are still going to the shows. People are buying products. They're still making money. And I am watching AEW clips now. I'm catching up. And I will talk about it once I know most of these characters. I was watching... It was like a 4-hour fucking show, which is insane. I guess AEW is more for like the hardcore wrestling fans. And they just have a lot of matches that like, I don't even know why they're fighting. So I need to learn more about these other characters. But I do know the big three: Hangman, Ospreay, and Swerve. And at this point, I'm rooting for AEW. We need another company to put pressure on the WWE. And AEW is the biggest company outside of WWE, and hopefully that they can reach that level where they can compete with the WWE. Now, for my next point, I briefly talked about this earlier, but the NXT is better than the main roster, especially from 2025 when you have the TNA merger, and just everything from the NXT feels more emotional. It feels fresh. It feels aggressive. You look at the storyline with the Tony D'Angelo's, right? That's a whole storyline that feels like a movie. You look at Obafemi. He's the most dominant champion in the WWE. Yes, in the whole WWE. Obafemi was better than Jey Uso. I feel like you can put him and Gunther in a match right now, and it would be a better match than Jey Uso has ever had in his career. You look at the NXT's women's division. They just lost 3 of their top women's stars, right? Stephanie Vaquer, Gilia, and Roxanne Perez, and the women's division is still top tier. They have Kalani Jordan there. They have Soruka. They have Zarya. I don't even know who the women's champion is to be. JC Jane, I think, or JC whatever her name is. You got Jada Parker. You got Lash Legends, who I believe they're going to try to push. There's so many different names that you have that weren't originally top of the women's division, and now they have the opportunity to be at the top. So yeah, the way that Shawn Michaels has booked just both of these divisions, especially with the women's, though, I'll give him so much credit for that. It's just unbelievable. The main roster can't even pray to have as good of a women division. You know what I mean? And they take all of the women from the NXT, and they can't make them feel as special as Shawn Michaels did. Right? Let's talk about Carmelo Hayes. When Carmelo Hayes was in NXT, he felt like he was the guy. He felt like he was the main character. Right? And even though Braun Breaker was on NXT, Braun Breaker was on NXT when Carmelo was on NXT, and Carmelo felt like the A guy. You know why? It doesn't matter about the height. It doesn't matter about what you look like. It's because of his in-ring ability and his character. Carmelo is charismatic. When you have him play a cocky, arrogant character that wins, you can take that serious. But when you have a cocky, arrogant character that loses all the time, you cannot take that serious. You cannot get over. And that's what they did with Carmelo in the main roster. He was cocky, he was arrogant, but lost every fucking match. So yeah, NXT is better when it comes to pushing stars and elevating them. But whenever they get caught up to the main roster, They completely get neutered and buried. Unless you're a Triple H guy, right? If you're a Triple H guy, you're good. But if you're not, if you're a Shawn Michaels guy, like a Carmelo Hayes, you are screwed. Now, the last point, and probably the most important, there is no icon to lead the next era of wrestlers. There's no up-and-coming superstar that's like, yes, that is the future face. Some people are saying that's Braun Breaker. Fuck no, it is not Braun Breaker. You have to have Mike Talent to be an icon, all right? Can't be Carmelo Hayes. He's fucking buried. Can't be Austin Theory. I don't know when's the last time he won a match. Can't be Grayson Waller. He's older than half these guys. Like, who's the next up-and-coming icon? I guess you have to look at NXT. Who is it? Can't be Trick Williams. He's already in his 30s. Can't be Ricky Saints. He's already in his 30s. Yeah, like, all these guys are in their 30s. Can't be Ethan Page. He's in his 30s. Who is the next icon? We don't know. Everyone's booked 50-50. It's 50-50. Everyone's 50-50. Who's this generation's John Cena? Who's this generation's Randy Orton? Who's this generation's Undertaker? Who's this like, you can go down, like, with every fucking era had at least, like, 5 guys who were Hall of Famers who were, wow, these guys are fucking great. I can't think of 2 guys from this era that's, wow, these guys are fucking great. I really can't. It's the talent problem. That's literally what it is. It's a talent problem, and that the talent doesn't even want to go to work, right? They want to work less, but perform worse. Like, it's crazy. You know, it really does suck. You know what I mean? Like, these are one of the jobs where, yes, I understand it's a wear and tear, right? But you're getting paid a lot to fake wrestle. You know what I mean? Like, it comes to a point. And you look at the 90s, these guys were jumping off of fucking 50 feet ladders and shit. You know what I mean? Like, these guys were breaking their whole bodies to put on shows. And the thing is, like, we don't even try to act like we're doing that. I remember when there was a clip of Jeff Hardy doing a swanton bomb off of the fucking highway, right? Obviously, he wasn't doing it off of the highway. You know what I mean? Obviously, he wasn't jumping. They had a mat underneath, and he probably jumped 10 feet down. But it looked like he jumped off of a fucking highway or a bridge. Whatever, he jumped off of something. And I just vividly remember this. You know, like, we don't even try to be like, whoa, what just happened? We don't even try to create those scenarios. We don't try to do anything. And that just comes down to the TKO. That's really what it comes down to. They have so much money, but they don't want to invest that money into props and to go have a different place to film. Have a whole different fucking building where you can film a bunch of different cool scenes. You know, like, think outside the box. Please. Stop forcing yourself to think in this narrow fucking line. It's very boring. It's very repetitive, and it sucks, man. It really does. It does. They're going to lose. WWE is going to lose a lot of their fan base if they keep this shit up. That's all I'm going to say. Now, we do have a SmackDown tonight, so I will be reviewing that tomorrow morning. And I'll catch you guys. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.